In this video, we want to take a look at selecting a tag and editing that tag or wrapping content in a tag quickly without having to switch back and forth to different views or without having to do a lot of extra typing. So I want to take a look in code view first. We're going to be working with the file that we had opened earlier. So I've still got my div with the wrapper ID here. And if you don't have that, you can just open up a blank file and create this pretty quickly and pretty easily. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter in some additional content. So I'll just type in new content goes here. Well, what if I wanted this actually inside of another div tag with a totally different ID? It would be pretty easy for me to go ahead and type in opening and closing div tag, but there's actually a much quicker and easier way of doing this. If I highlight the text, you'll note that in the code toolbar over here, another one of our code toolbar elements lights up, and it looks like a little pencil on top of a tag, and this is the quick tag editor. And if you hover over it, it's going to say wrap tag because that's what it does here in code view. It helps you quickly and easily wrap tags around content. So if I were to click this, you'll notice that the wrap tag dialog box comes up, and it's, what tag do you want to wrap this with? Well, we'll wrap it with another div tag, and we'll go ahead and give it another ID, and I'll just call this content. So you can see all of your code hinting is available to you right here inside the wrap tag dialog box. When I hit return, it just goes ahead and wraps a tag around it, which is really, really cool. Of course, you could go ahead and wrap another tag around the new content goes here. Maybe you want that to be inside of a paragraph. So you could go do that again, but there's a keyboard shortcut for this. And the keyboard shortcut works both here in code view and in design view. So it's really handy to know. So if I do Command T, that brings wrap tag back around again, and I can just go down and hit P to go down to the paragraph tag. And when I hit enter, and you have to hit enter twice because you're selecting it from the menu and then you're confirming that choice, you'll notice that now my content is now wrapped in a paragraph tag as well. Well, let's take a look at how we can do that in design view, because we're not always going to be coding, and sometimes we'll need to really quickly edit and work with these tags. So if I switch back over to design view, you want to do that real quick there. So let's switch over to design view, and you can see on the page, our new content goes here. And if you look at the tag selector down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that we're inside of a paragraph inside those two div tags. Once again, let's say I select the word new, and if I hit Command T, there's my wrap tag dialog box, and I could wrap that in M tag. Now, what's really interesting about that is that the quick tag editor is found in so many different places. Take a look at your properties inspector. And when you click inside the word new, for example, and you look on the properties inspector, and our property inspector is, there we go. We had part of it hidden there by the files panel, but the very right-hand edge, you're going to find the quick tag editor button or icon. And if I click on that, you'll notice it says, okay, did you want to insert some HTML on the page? So it actually gives us a little bit more functionality here than it does in code view, because in code view, obviously you can do all this by hand coding. But if you're in design view and you want to edit your HTML, this offers you a much broader arena for that. So if I'm actually inside of a tag, so let me go ahead and click back inside our new content goes here. And I click, it says, do you want to insert some HTML here? So it's not saying, do you want to wrap the tag around this? Now, if I go down to my actual tag selector and click on the M tag, if I go and click on the quick tag editor now, it's like, oh, do you want to edit this M tag? So I could actually replace this, for example, with a strong tag instead. So it was a strong tag now instead of an M tag. It'll still wrap text, but in order to do that, you have to actually highlight the code, and you can click it again. And this time, see, you'll notice that wrap tag comes up, and I can type in an M tag for that. So depending upon what you're focused on, whether you're clicked inside of text, whether you have a tag selected, or whether you have a sequence of text selected, it's going to give you multiple options. So you can use that on the properties inspector, or there's one more location where you can find it. And I'll highlight the word goes. If you go down to your tag selector, right down here on the bottom, you can actually right click, which is control click on the Mac, or if you have a 2-button mouse, you just want to right click, and you can access the quick tag editor right there. And whatever tag you're inside of, it comes up and allows you to edit that. So I could add a class style to this paragraph, and I could just call it new. So that's the process of quickly editing and working with tags both in code and design view. And A lot of those techniques will really speed up the process of modifying or adding existing code to the page. Our next video will be on using the find and replace feature and seeing some of the more advanced things we can do to quickly make edits throughout the entire site.